What's up, y'all? This is Nick. You're watching the Inverted.Visions YouTube channel. It's been a while. Haven't made a new video in years, but I got some light guns for Christmas, and guess what, y'all? I'm a gun guy now.
Hey, now we be trippin'.
I'm kind of goofing around, but my awesome partner got me two of these Sinden Light Guns for Christmas, and I've been a whole rabbit hole of tweaking and testing and playing a whole bunch of light gun games on my PC. It's been super fun, and I wanted to talk about it and share some awesome games with y'all. We got some weird ones, some cool ones, some games I just discovered, and some games I've rediscovered. This should be fun. Real quick, I'm going to explain some light gun stuff. So if you don't care and want to skip right to the games, you can do so right now. I'm going to put a little thing with the time code right here. Otherwise, keep watching and listen to me be a little nerd. I am in no way an expert on this stuff, so don't listen to me for all the technical jargon. But basically, old CRT TVs made it possible for peripherals like light guns to use light to detect where you're pointing at the screen. So CRT TVs use rays to draw an image on the screen, and the screen would flash white for a sec, and the lens in the gun would be able to see where you're pointing and tell the game if it's a hit or if you missed. Modern flat screen TVs don't process the image fast enough and don't have the constant flickering of a CRT, so it's impossible to play these kinds of games on modern TVs. That's where the Sinden Light Guns come in.
This is millions and millions of little screens who send a light on you, some sort of electrical light. I'm not really sure.
Hey, honey, how are you?
Do you like sulfur?
Sulfur? Sulfur's my favorite food, honey. You know that. Is that why you called me?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Can I sing in Icelandic?
Not now, honey, please. I'm right in the middle of a giant space war.
The Sinden Light Guns basically have a camera that can see the screen while this white border is active and act like a mouse on your PC for almost one-to-one accuracy. That is, if they and the game are calibrated correctly. Sinden is one of the few companies out there that's taken it upon themselves to fix this retro gaming conundrum. There's Aim Track, Gun for IR, Retro Shooter, and all of them use different methods to achieve the same goal. I have the Sindens and I'm happy with them, but I can't really comment on how it compares to anything else. Anyway, let's get into some cool light gun games, starting with Carn Evil. Carn Evil is such an awesome horror light gun game, released on Halloween Day in 1998, developed and published by Midway. This game is such a classic, and I'm still in awe of its humor and creativity and its violence. This game was at my local AMF bowling alley when I was a kid, and I remember watching the attract screen over and over again because it was so crazy and violent. But I was too much of a baby to play it and went back to bowling and eating shit pizza. Thankfully, this game works beautifully with MAME, and after calibrating the guns in the test menu, works great, plays great, and I can blast those kooky double-sided dudes forever. Cool game, but it's very difficult, and it will absolutely make your fingers tired after a while if you catch my drift.
Join the United Nations H confirmed.
Next game I want to talk about is a favorite of my partner Steph and I. This is Gunblade New York from Sega, released in 1995 in North America. This is an awesome Model 2 game where you fly around and blast robotic terrorists with a machine gun. This is probably a good time to mention that some light gun games in the arcade technically aren't light gun games. They use like joysticks basically. So the guns in the arcade were actually like giant joysticks that you move around, and that's why you can see the aiming reticule in the games like this. I also want to mention that these kind of games usually just hold down the trigger instead of firing single shots, so it's much easier on your fingers, unlike Carnival. Regardless of all that, Gunblade New York is awesome. It's bold, it's Sega, it's got a bunch of explosions. You can't get much better than that.
Target confirmed. Area under control.
You run a real loose ship.
Trippin', I tells ya.
What do you think of that?
That's neat. Kind of like Vegas.
I love you, guest.
Let's look at something completely different. This is Point Blank, released in 1994 by Namco. Think of Point Blank as a light gun WarioWare. The game gives you an objective like shooting skeletons in a graveyard or shooting numbers in sequential order, and you have to fulfill that objective better than your opponent. It's silly, fast-paced, and fun, and it was actually a huge hit when I had some friends over to play some light gun games recently. Great game. It's also on the PS1. When I think of light gun games, I mostly think of two-player games that are both cooperative and competitive. But there are also some cool light gun games you can play alone if you ain't got no one to play with. This is Wild Gunman for the NES from Nintendo, released in 1985. It's a cute and simple shootout game where you gotta be quick to the draw and take out your opponents. There's also a shooting gallery mode. If you want to play it properly, you gotta stand up, you gotta put the gun at your side like it's in your holster, and then when it says fire, you gotta raise the gun up and shoot the screen quickly. Another classic single-player light gun rail shooter is Time Crisis from 1995 from Namco. Also, look at this 10-year technology jump, going from Wild Gunman to Time Crisis. Whoa. The first game in the Time Crisis franchise is great, and it only gets better from here. In the arcade, you stepped on a pedal to take cover and reload, but in the home releases and on the Sinden, it's a button on the gun. It's a cool mechanic either way, but obviously that pedal is awesome. You can also actually get a pedal from Sinden if you want to really go full authentic Time Crisis. While this game is great, I do feel like it kind of wears out its welcome towards the end. Honestly, that's something a lot of light gun games suffer from, in my opinion. They just get tiring, and obviously they wanted to take your money and your quarters, so it can get a little bit of a slog at the end, but it's still a really fun game. This one also has a port on the PS1. Speaking of the PS1, this is Gunfighter, The Legend of Jesse James, developed by Rebellion Developments and published by Ubisoft, released in 2001. This is a Time Crisis style rail shooter set in the old Wild West. I haven't played all of this one yet, but it's pretty fun and it has some varied gameplay every once in a while. Its voice acting is kind of messy and its graphics are kind of ugly, but they have a certain charm. I actually played this on a real PS1 at MagFest this year at like 2 in the morning while I was high and drunk, and it was really fun. So maybe you gotta be high and drunk to appreciate this game.
Who shall live and who shall die?
For the last game I want to talk about today, here's Vampire Knight, released in the arcade in 2000. This one's interesting because it was developed by WoW Entertainment, which is really Sega AM1, and published by Namco, so it's a collaboration game. It also uses the engine from Sega's The House of the Dead, which I will absolutely talk about in the future. Steph wanted to play this one, so I got it working through TechnoParrot, which can be a pain, but this one wasn't too bad. I'm glad she did though, because this one is really cool. Very House of the Dead, but it's got its own distinct flavor.
Now, where's our pay?
I've got your payoff right here, lad.
Okay, so that's a look at some light gun games. What a cool genre that is sadly mostly gone the way of the dodo. It's so visceral and so fun to just point at the screen and make things happen. It's almost like how the Wii felt when it first came out. It's a cool way to interface with games that just doesn't really exist anymore because of the technology and because arcades are, they're around, but they're not as prevalent as they used to be. So it's been really fun exploring this genre and all these games, whether they're arcade games or console games from the PS1, PS2, whatever. And I have to say thank you again to my partner Steph for buying me these Sinden Light Guns for Christmas. I've been having a lot of fun tinkering and getting all these games to work properly. It's just been a fun experience. There's a lot more light gun games to talk about, so I'd be happy to make a part 2 in the future. But until then, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.